welcome to Massage Science. My name is Eric Purvis. I'm a course creator, educator, and advocate for evidence-based care in the massage and manual therapy professions. This is the third episode in my Knowledge Summit series. I will be hosting this one-day online conference live over Zoom on October the 5th. This conference will feature 5 presenters from across Canada and the United Kingdom who will be sharing their knowledge and clinical insights on a variety of topics relevant to the massage and manual therapy professions. Today's episode is with Meaghan Mounce. Her presentation is titled Move Through Cancer, the role of exercise in treatment and recovery. Today we will discuss some of the content you can expect during her presentation, and she'll also be sharing some of her personal insights into her experience as a cancer survivor. For more information and also to register, please visit my website, thecebe.com. I am also excited to announce that my company and this podcast now has an official sponsor. I'm excited to be partnering with Noterro. They are a Canadian company trusted by thousands of healthcare professionals across various disciplines. Noterro has been dedicated to serving the healthcare community for 12 years. With a comprehensive suite of features like charting, scheduling, billing, and the new Noterro Go. Go is tailored for mobile practitioners, streamlining workflows and helping practitioners run their business more efficiently. Visit noterro.com/CEBE to start your extended 44-day trial. That is noterro.com/CEBE. Now, let's begin this episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Massage Science. I'm excited to welcome the pride of Cedar, BC today, Meaghan Mounce. So, Meaghan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Super excited.
So this is going to be another episode in the series on promoting the upcoming Knowledge Summit, which is on October 5th. Meaghan is presenting her 1-hour webinar called Move Through Cancer, the role of exercise in treatment and recovery. Meaghan also has a mini course, a mini self-directed workshop on my website as well, but she's going to be presenting, I'm assuming, similar material live on October 5th. Thanks for being here, Meaghan. Why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about you?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. So I live in Cedar, BC, which is a small community, I guess, on the south side of Nanaimo. I live with my husband, Sean, who's great, and I still really like him a lot. And our daughter, Eva, she's 8 years old. We also have a dog who is snoring right next to me, so hopefully you can't hear that on here. We spend a lot of time outdoors. Living on Vancouver Island's pretty incredible for doing any sort of outdoor, year-round outdoor activity. So we go mountain biking, we boat, we have a cabin on a small island near Nanaimo, so pretty lucky. My history, I guess, I graduated from Vancouver Island University 20 years ago this year with a Bachelor of Science, majored in biology. And that was the time when you graduated with a science degree and there was no jobs. And perhaps that's still the case, but that at that point in time, there was like almost nothing to get a full-time job in. I did a couple contract jobs for marine biology work, but I quickly realized that I needed to do something different. So I moved to Victoria and became a personal trainer and group fitness instructor, and just absolutely fell in love with working in the fitness industry. So have been in that kind of work for almost 20 years as well. And then from there, realized I just wanted to help people a bit more and discovered that there was a massage therapy college in Victoria. So I took the 3,000-hour RMT program from West Coast College of Massage Therapy and have been a massage therapist for almost 15 years now. And I massage full-time for a number of years and now just massage very part-time. And I also teach group fitness classes, but do some other work outside of massage, but still have my hands in there.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Or maybe there was a pun intended.
Yeah.
Because you have a contract. Your full-time job is with one of the territories.
That's right. Yeah. My husband and I lived in the territory of Nunavut for just over a year for his work. And when we moved up there, I started there as a massage therapist and volunteered at the gym teaching classes, but decided to use my biology degree finally and got a job with the government of Nunavut up there and made some good friends. And then when we returned home, a few years later, those friends had started their own consulting company and asked me if I would help them on a project. That project has turned into a very full-time work. So I do a variety of things in supporting the government of Nunavut and Inuit organizations and associations in Nunavut. Very random
Yeah,
things for a girl in Cedar.
that's still, I think it's such a neat thing as a neat job and sounds
Yeah,
like obviously very important. But it's
cool.
really interesting that you can do that from way down here, way down
Yeah,
south.
way down southern provinces.
Yeah.
And super interesting. I feel like I learned something new every day, which is amazing.
One thing that often comes up too, I find with conversations I have with massage therapists is so many people feel like I shouldn't say so many, but there's a good number of people that feel that they don't know what else to do.
Yeah,
And I always say there's so many other options out there, but really, if you don't have a degree or training, it doesn't have to be a degree, but or training is something else, then yeah, your options are limited to pretty much just massage. But the fact that you had that undergrad degree really helped to nail down this other job, so but you can still have your pun intended hands into the massage world and you've got your fitness training. So it can give you a few different ways of working and expressing your creative side or with your doing work for meaningful organizations or helping people, creating or doing exercise plans and fitness training. I think it's great. And I
yeah,
always say that it's important, I think, for us as a profession to realize that some people may feel like I'm stuck. I can only do massage therapist. No, there's all kinds of other stuff you can do. You just got to
yeah,
explore it. It may not be as wide in terms of options as you would get with, say, like physiotherapy, where you could take like an extremely academic route, or you could
right.
research, or you work in hospitals or care homes or those kind of things. We don't necessarily have that same uh, career trajectory, but I think it's great to hear stories like your own where you're like, yeah, I was an RMT and now I'm working for the government, but I'm still massaging a little bit and still doing some fitness stuff. I think it's great. I think it should be inspiring to people that are listening.
Yeah, and I think too, I always wondered, I remember when I started the massage therapy college, going to school there, I was like, oh, what a waste of time I did for my biology degree. Like, why did I take this? But I think looking back, it was probably one of the best decisions I made, honestly. It made me a better student for the massage therapy program, but also I've had so many opportunities because of it, even though I didn't have maybe some right away.
Yeah, that's a really important point, I think, to make. I went to UVic and I graduated 24 years ago. So a little bit older than you. I remember speaking with my uncle on my mom's side. He said to me, when you do your undergraduate degree, it's not going to teach you how to get a job. He's like,
Yeah,
it was going to teach you how to learn, and you're going to learn more about yourself. How do you learn? How do you prioritize your time? How do you function with deadlines? It teaches you all these life skills, which you can only get from going to university. That was his, and that always stuck with me. At the
yeah.
time, I was like, ah, yeah, Uncle Wayne, whatever. But over, as the years went on, like I kept on hearing that and again and again. And actually, funny, he worked for the Nunavut government for years.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, he was up there. He worked up in Rankin Inlet
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kugluktuk.
Yeah,
That's
amazing.
I'm saying that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are
Anyway, he
saying it
worked up there
right.
for years. I always wanted to go visit him, but it was actually more expensive to fly up there than it was to fly to Australia
Oh, yes.
or
Yeah, I
Asia,
need
like the
to.
farthest points of the world. It was so far and so expensive. It was more expensive to fly up there.
Yeah, definitely is.
But that it just maybe we're off topic. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. But I just wanted to talk a bit more about that. About you went and had your undergraduate degree, and it teaches you how to learn
Yeah.
and made you a better RMT student. And I felt the same way too. And I think a lot of people that really did really well. Like some people obviously just were young and were just like went right out of school and they had the energy, they had the time, and they were focused. And they did great too. But I did find that people that had a little bit of education, it was a much easier process to go through massage school just because you learned how to learn, how to
Hmm.
prioritize what was important, what wasn't important.
Yeah,
And you don't have to have a degree to do that, but it helps, you know.
100%. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts too about when I was in massage school. I thought I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna have a job. Like I'm gonna make money. It's gonna be great. And I remember thinking, why did I spent 4 years university?
Yeah,
But then after working for a decade ish, and I went back to university to do my master's degree. I was so thankful I had that undergrad because I couldn't
yeah.
have done the master's without it. And of course, then that opens up other doors. So yeah, I think you're never too old to learn.
No,
Think I was 40. 41. I think it was 41 when I graduated with my master's degree.
Amazing. Yeah, I have contemplated going back to school again too because I love learning, but yes, it's a bit of a step at this age.
I know as we get older, it becomes a little less,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I got my kids and I
Yeah.
want to spend another 2, 3, 4, 5 years back in school.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you do if you could go back? Or if you were going to go now and there was like no barriers and you go back, what would you do?
Oh, this is a great question. I would probably, my dream actually was before when I was taking my biology degree, I was planning to go into physiotherapy. That was my dream. So I think I would probably go somewhere along that route, but maybe more on the academic side, like research or teaching or something. I don't know. I did teach at the Massage Therapy College in Victoria for a few years and I really enjoyed that. So I don't know. I would enjoy doing something like that, I feel like. But
Yeah, I think you'd be great at it.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm biased. Teaching's fun. I love teaching. I love
Yeah,
sharing and talking to people about stuff that I find interesting. So
right.
and if you have that interest, go with it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
true.
the PTs, and that's one thing that I really wish that we had in our profession. I wish we had that academic like progression. And I know there's a lot of people that probably aren't for that because they think it becomes this bit of this degree creep where you have to keep on going to university. And there's a lot of great therapists that don't have university degrees. And I totally agree. You don't have
Yeah,
to have a university degree to be a great massage or manual therapist.
for
But I
sure.
think that for those of us, and there's many of us that would appreciate or would enjoy that academic progression like PTs, it really would be ideal. Yesterday, funny enough, I had a meeting with a researcher who works at BC Children's Hospital, and she's
Okay.
partners with UBC and
Wow.
PT, PhD, and my soccer team that I coach, were part of her research project, and she's doing something across the island in the Lower Mainland, and she's doing it on injury prevention protocols for female youth,
Right.
which is what I coach. And we had this great conversation yesterday. And I was so excited to talk to her, and she was really excited to share her stuff. And I thought, different life. Yeah. Again, you're like, that's the kind of stuff I would love to, because she's doing things on like ACL prevention and rehab and all the stuff, because it's a huge problem in female sports, particularly
Right.
with soccer, knees, hips, ankles. And I was so inspired talking to her. Like, I'm so excited to be part of this thing.
That's
Like,
super
sign
cool.
me up
Yeah, that's
or
awesome.
sign us up. I
Yeah.
signed up the team of they have to consent, but I voluntold everyone and said, you want to be part of next year? You don't have to if you want to, but I really think you should. So
Yeah, amazing.
cool stuff. Yeah.
Contribute to science.
Anyway, so you've been practicing for a while,
Yep.
and what are some of the changes that you've seen in the profession during your 14-ish years?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Or have you seen any? I don't know.
I think, honest, I was thinking back of when, it makes me think of back when we were in school, and it wasn't very, I don't want to bash any schools or anything, but I feel like it was, there was not a lot of like evidence-based, maybe curriculum. And I don't know how the schools have progressed since then, or if they have at all, but I do feel like massage therapists are leaning towards learning more information from people that have more an evidence-based background or sourcing out that kind of material anyways. And I also think that's a big one that I feel like a lot of the profession has moved to. If you look at the Facebook groups and everyone's, does anyone have an evidence-based course on this or something like that? And maybe it's just a term that's overused now nowadays. I don't know, but I do feel like people are more interested in learning like the actual facts and about information, less maybe about the modalities that the hands-on modalities that we were shown in school.
Yeah. I would agree in some ways. I think in BC, and no, I can
Yeah, I'm speaking from BC. I don't know about
Yeah, I would say, and I don't want to say, oh, BC, I don't want to be too BC centric, but I think that's where we are, and that's where we get most of the information we're exposed to and interaction with the profession is in BC. I would say here there's definitely this interest, this curiosity, I can say this evidence-based, curious kind of ideas that are starting to percolate through the profession. But I do agree that it's an overused term where people will use it, but they use it and they'll use it in a way and they'll pair it with another word or another phrase that's not evidence-based. Like evidence-based myofascial release. Like,
Right.
okay, how it depends how you're using that word, but what do you mean by are you actually talking about like changing the structural integrity of the fascia? Or are you talking about like a technique approach? So there's this, I don't know, misunderstanding or misuse of some of the terminology in a way. So I see people do that, and I always want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, what do you mean when you say that? Or are you talking about like an approach, like a hands-on and movement-based approach, but you're calling it myofascial release? Or are you actually teaching people how to break down scar tissue and adhesions
Right.
and this stuff, which we
Right.
know is lacking evidence. So
Right.
yeah, I do find it gets used and almost becomes like a buzzword.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I was thinking too.
yeah.
But I
But
do feel like I think it's positive that people are thinking that way, at least.
100%. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I agree. I'm 100% thinking it's great that people are asking those questions and wanting to know for
Mhm.
sure. And I've spoken before about many of these topics, and sometimes some of the feedback I get from people is that they hear when you're challenging an idea, and when they're so closely they attach their identity to that idea. It becomes like a personal attack on them, and that's never what's meant to be. It's more, we're just challenging this idea. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or a bad therapist. But people, I think that's a problem in the profession. And I've had some talks with some students at some of the massage schools recently. It's something I do as often as I can. And I ask them that question now, but are you, and like your student, like sometimes they're term two, term three, sometimes they're term six or seven, depending on the length of the program, where they are. And I ask them, I said, is your personal identity attached to a technique, modality, style?
Mhm.
And even in school, that most of them will be like, well, yeah, and like, tell me what that is. And they will identify, I'm a deep tissue therapist, I'm a sports massage person, or I'm a
Right.
myofascial, or I'm going to do MLD. They identify by the technique.
Yes.
And it's interesting when I challenge them on that, engage with them, I shouldn't say challenge, engage with them on that in a critical thinking exercise and how they come out of it thinking, oh, yeah, I guess there is more than one way, and I don't have to be this person.
Yes. It's so true. And it's funny you say that because I was thinking the other day of how when I met you was I had been graduated for a while, but I remember being in school and then after school, I was just like a massage therapist. I wasn't like a deep tissue massage therapist. I didn't feel like I had a title attached to me. I was a real generalist, still am, really. And I remember going to your first pain science course, and I was like, finally, somebody can tell me that I am okay to just touch people nicely, as you
Yeah.
always say, and treat them nicely. You don't have to do something
Yeah.
specific to be effective.
That course was, I think, that was one of the early days. I think that might have been maybe 2017 or 2018, might have been on the early days.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that course because I remember you being there and asking good questions and like nodding along and smiling. But that was also the course where I have probably some of the worst memories of teaching. There were some people there that were just horrible to me
Yeah.
and just horrible to the room. And it's funny because I've taught that particular course, I don't know, 50, 60 times probably over the years. Like I used to do that course alone probably 10 to 15 times a year. It
Right.
was very, very popular.
Mhm.
And it's funny, I can't remember most of them, but I remember that one in particular. And I think, oh my God, it was terrible. Yeah, people did not like that. So I think my delivery got better.
It was hard. I think for some people it was hard to hear, but you made a fan in me right away,
Yeah.
so you got one.
It's funny. Even now, it's funny some of the feedback I get from people, and a lot of times it comes from people that have no idea who I like. They've never attended a course of mine. They've just
Yeah.
heard things or they've read things, and they are immediately have their back up. Like I had a few times, but it's the last year I had somebody who was, you really need to improve how you present yourself to the public. I was like, you've never taken anything of mine.
Yeah.
Like we've had very few interactions. Oh yeah, but I've heard on your podcast you say these things, or I've seen these posts. Yeah, but you're taking a meaning out of that was not intended, and you've spun the words to fit a narrative. And It's interesting because you could be out there and saying what everybody wants to hear, but then you're just like, it's just noise in the background. So you got to say something different. And it's funny. It's still amazing to me after all these years how hard it is for people to hear something that might challenge their way of thinking. Or
Yeah.
it's interesting. Even well-educated, experienced people sometimes will still get their back up and you think, yeah, I never said that. Or you heard that and you took this meaning, whereas everybody else took this meaning. And same thing with your experience in that course. You're like, it resonated with you, it hit right. You're like, oh, this is what I'm thinking. And other people were, you're a heathen. Hey, go
Yeah.
away. Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. It's interesting how you see that. But I do agree, going back to the initial question, was some
Yeah.
of the changes that I think some of the evidence-based stuff is starting to come more and more. And it's starting to see it come across the country a little bit. I
Yeah.
do find in some of the provinces, though, at least when I pay attention to some of the social media things, it's still very technique. What technique should I do for this? What modality
Right.
do I need to add to my toolbox? And it's all about adding tools rather than understanding. And I think that's something where I would like to see things go next is more knowledge of what it is that we're actually doing rather than chasing
Yeah.
a million
Yeah,
different
for sure.
techniques.
For sure. I also think I was thinking also we talked the other day about how when you're supporting me with the short little webinar, how I think RMTs in BC, anyways, I'm sure it's the same across Canada, that everyone likes to do short little, just wants short snippets of information nowadays, make like short little webinars, or it seems like in-person stuff is becoming a bit more non-existent, which I think is why your symposium idea that you have last year was the first one. Was
Last year's the
last
first one I
year?
did it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think this idea of getting a bunch of information on one day, people don't have to leave their living room or bedroom or office or whatever, I think is genius.
Oh, well, thank you. It went really well last year, and I'm sure it'll go well again this year. I haven't done too much promotion for it, but I'm sure it'll be great. But
Yeah.
I agree, and that's one reason why I've completely shifted so much of my work to doing short webinars, like 1 hour, 90-minute, 2 hour webinars,
Mhm.
is because they're cheaper
Yeah.
for people, but you
Yes.
can actually get your information to more people for 50, $60 or $40, depending on how long it is. And people don't have to leave
Yeah.
or the comfort of their home, or they don't have to take off a day of work. You think of the old system, which as a
Yeah.
educator, it was great. I knew that every year I could, as many weekends as I wanted to teach, I could get people to come take courses because people needed those 14 hours every 2 years or
Right.
whatever it was, or 20, I can't remember how
20
many hours.
24 every 2 years, I
The
think.
24, yeah, whatever it was, people
Yeah.
needed to attend those courses. So you just teach a course, get it approved, and it was great.
Yeah.
But from an instructor's perspective, it sucked because you were often on the road on the weekends, missing family, and it was tiring. It was in the courses you had to charge a lot because they were expensive because you had to travel, hotel, rent space, and so it wasn't really I mean, wasn't in everyone's best interest the same. Whereas the onlines, the short snippets, fits well, I think, too, with the way the world is right now,
Yeah.
with that convenience of online and short little bits of
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But in-person courses still are pretty good. I'm doing a few of them this year, and
Nice.
there's still a market for it, but I think it's easier to sell online
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Convenience.
Convenience is great. So let's talk a bit more about your topic, because your topic is on oncology and cancer. Just give us a quick synopsis. I don't even remember what we learned about cancer in school.
Not
Like
much.
what's that entry to level practice knowledge? What do you remember from what you learned?
I don't remember much at all. So in my undergrad degree, my Bachelor of Science, I took a couple oncology courses, which were more like cellular biology, intense craziness. But massage therapy, we must have done something because we did do like a practical portion with cancer patients and their caregivers. I do remember that. I don't remember, it was probably one day that you in like a systemics treatments class that you did for oncology. Also, when I taught there, I taught the pathology classes and we did some work on oncology then, but I don't, I honestly don't, I don't remember it being a significant thing in my mind when I graduated from massage school that I would feel comfortable working with cancer patients at
Yeah,
the end of school.
yeah. That is my memory or my emotions from it too. How I felt. I remember being in school, and it was more about being scared about cancer rather
Yeah,
than how can you best support somebody or help them. It was more about, we don't know, you could spread cancer or you could make them worse. And that was the thing, is you weren't supposed to treat people that had cancer or
Right.
might have cancer because there's that fear of harm. But
Hmm.
even if we look back at the evidence from 30 years ago, it never said that.
No.
But this goes to the idea of, there's when beliefs start to inform curriculum, which
Right.
is a whole other topic, and I've probably talked about this lots before on this podcast and other things, is that if the belief is that massage increases systemic circulation, then if that could be true, then there could be the possibility that you could spread cancer cells.
Yeah.
But we know those two things aren't true, but
Right.
is based on belief. So yeah, I think there's and it's still from I see it's using our very evidence-based, reading what people talk about online. Anecdotally, we do see that still a lot of people are still afraid to treat people that have cancer because that's what they were taught. Oh, I learned in school that you shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. And if you go back to your increasing circulation can spread cancer, so can walking up the stairs or going for a brisk walk, which is, and anyone in the oncology world is telling their patients to, maybe they're not because there's not a lot of exercise prescription, but there is no evidence that cancer patients should just be lying down all the time to not increase their circulation. Like they're being encouraged to get up and go for a walk and increase their circulation. So we're not going to spread cancer. Like exercise is not going to spread cancer, and neither your hands-on techniques.
Yeah, it's actually the opposite. I would imagine you'd want to do anything that you could to make the person feel better, maybe increase their immune
Yeah,
system functioning, which exercise is shown to do.
yeah,
So
exactly.
to kind of move on to that topic, so I know you have your background in exercise, and tell us a little bit more about the benefits of exercise with people, whether it's active cancer, during, pre, post treatment.
Yeah. So there's lots. Science, the last few years specifically, has shown there's a lot of research coming out that exercise can be super important for cancer patients before diagnosis even. So if you have not been diagnosed with cancer, exercise is super important in preventing cancer. And I think I don't have them off the top of my head, but there's at least over 10 different cancers that doing regular exercise can be prevented. Cancer can be prevented by doing regular exercise. Didn't say that properly. But also during treatment and then after treatment, exercise is super important as well. Specifically after treatment, there was a new study that came out this year actually that shows there's 10 specific types of cancer now that regular exercise can decrease the chance of reoccurrence of cancer. And that includes breast cancer, which is very prevalent in our populations these days. But then during cancer treatment as well, like rehabilitation from surgery, exercise, range of motion exercises can be super helpful. Helping people when they're doing chemotherapy or radiation treatment. Exercise is super helpful in increasing the immune system function, making people feel good. Honestly, that's a big one. And then, yeah, just keeping people moving. And so when we do the symposium, I will go through kind of information for patients that have had surgery or have been going through chemotherapy treatment and through radiation treatment, and we'll give some exercise recommendations on those topics. So, yeah.
Perfect. Just as a general rule, there's no reason why massage or exercise could not be used by someone who has cancer.
There's no reason why that they should not
They should not.
utilize.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that you should be cautious of is if someone has had their cancer spread to their bones, and then you would want to know where that location would be, and if you are touching them in massage therapy, touching them gently over those, but you're not going to spread cancer or cause any issues. I think both modalities, exercise and massage therapy, are 100% valid for cancer patients in any stage of their treatment, but there are like things to consider. People going through chemotherapy often feel like garbage for a lot of the time. So there's ways you can work around those days that they're feeling really rough and then massage them on non-treatment weeks or ask them to increase their steps on non-treatment weeks when they're feeling a bit more energetic. But yeah, I think exercise and massage therapy are super helpful any point in time for a cancer patient. And specifically after, it's funny when I haven't talked yet about my cancer journey on this podcast, but specifically after you have gone through cancer diagnosis, treatment, it's like you're riding this adrenaline high for so long, appointment to appointment, to surgery, to different types of treatment. And then all of a sudden you're just thrown back into this real world of you're fine now. And you're supposed to figure out what you like and what you enjoy. And so I think exercise specifically can be super therapeutic, even if it's just going out for a walk or remembering those things that you enjoyed doing before cancer treatment. Is it yoga? Is it going to the gym? Is it mountain biking or rock climbing or whatever? I think it's important to remember what you enjoyed
Right.
previous.
Yeah. Yeah. You're fine now. You're fine
Yeah,
now. I'm currently cancer free.
right.
Yeah. Does that mean I'm fine? What about all the other stuff? What about
Yeah,
the
and
psychosocial,
yes.
emotional stuff? And I guess that's a Western medical thing is
Yeah.
you're fine from a medical biological perspective for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a huge benefit, like you said, with returning to those things that you want to do. I know he is not respected anymore, but Lance Armstrong was somebody that I used to cycle all the time. I didn't have a car until I was 20, 28. I rode my bike everywhere and I cycled and I rode with cycling groups and it was a big part of my life up until my probably my early 30s. And I had a couple accidents. I got kids. I'm not going to die. Yeah, so
Right.
I don't really ride much anymore. But anyway,
Right.
I was a big fan of his at the time because he was winning everything and he was this cocky character, so he was easy to like.
Yeah.
At
I
least
like
for
to
me, he
hear.
was. Uh,
Yeah.
and I remember reading his books that he wrote, and of course they're full of all kinds of lies, which he later admitted, obviously. But I remember one of the things that really stuck with me, which just came to me when you were telling me about things people need to do to during and particularly afterwards, is that when he had his cancer and it had spread from testicular cancer, I think, and he had it in his brain and it all over the place. And he still got up and got on his bike every day during that treatment as much as
Yeah.
he could. And afterwards, as soon as he could, he got back on his bike because that was what provided him happiness,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And
Exactly.
I think that always stuck with me. And that's something in clinically over the years, I've seen patients that have, you know what, the evidence says that's good. And here's a experience, here's a story from somebody, whether you like him or not. He
Yeah.
survived cancer, and this is how he got one of the ways he got through it.
Yeah.
And I always found that was people tended to resonate with that more often than not.
Totally.
I think, yeah. So one thing just to think about would be just for people listening, and maybe if you want to expand on this a little bit without going into too much detail, because you don't want to give your presentation on a podcast.
Right.
Leave some mystery here for people that come listen to stuff or
Yeah.
come attend live. I would imagine though there's two things that come to my mind as modifications that we need to be mindful of for people undergoing either during or after cancer
Yeah.
would be radiation as well as surgical incisions.
Sure.
What would your recommendations be on that for say somebody's going through radiation?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
role
So
of massage and exercise in that regards?
radiation, so generally you will have radiation over an extended period of time. So people often get do 4 weeks of daily radiation treatment for say that per se. That's often a usual prescription that they get. And so tissue can get super fragile. It looks like they have a super awful sunburn in the radiated areas, and it can stay that way for a few weeks after radiation treatment has ended. And so changes you would need to make if you're treating that person is, and if it's very uncomfortable for them, you just avoid that area for massage. However, they are often told to use like a specific lotion to keep things hydrated. So when I have worked with breast cancer patients that have had radiated skin, I've often just very gently massaged their specific lotion onto their skin in that area. And then specific to breast cancer patients, because they're get radiation in the chest and armpit area, it can get quite tight or they are uncomfortable moving their limb. Any sort of work on range of motion exercises, which can be done on the table as a massage therapist, helping with passive range of motion within pain tolerance, or if you're an exercise professional, you can suggest doing range of motion exercises. It can be very simple, just like flexion and extension. Move them in whatever movement they are comfortable doing, and to show them that it's okay to move as well.
Yeah, that's important. So often in musculoskeletal care, human care, humans that hurt care, there's this fear of damage, or
Yeah,
there's a fear of doing more harm. And in my experiences, and probably in yours as well, and it sounds like in your experiences, that ours probably are very similar, is that just simple movement, simple exercises can be the most powerful. It
yeah,
doesn't need to be anything crazy. And we see that all the time in our profession, don't we? People just don't feel comfortable getting people moving or giving them exercise. And because we have this, maybe it's in our head, maybe it's cultural, maybe it's societal, I don't know. Maybe it's just what patients expect, but we only touch people, is
yeah,
this idea that so many of us have. But 5 minutes of range of motion, maybe a little bit of resisted range of motion, or giving someone permission to move can be so powerful. It's within our scope of practice
yeah.
in most places. Some places in the States, I don't think there is. I think some places in the States you can't do any movement stuff. But
I mean,
most people listening are
yeah,
probably you can get someone to do some active and passive range of motion. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And encourage them to exercise.
Yeah.
With the exercise stuff, now, would you, now obviously this is very person dependent, but when you're talking about exercise, you're not talking about, because there's this connotation people have with exercise is like involves weights and
Right.
stuff. Now, what exercise? What do you mean by it? How would you define exercise for this population? What would that look like?
Good question. In the webinar, we mostly talk about exercise as like range of motion movements or simple anything that brings you joy. And I think that is the most important. So after surgery, range of motion, I feel like getting back range of motion is super important and something you can work on right away. All the research on cancer and exercise is based on moderate intensity exercise. So most of the studies have people going for a brisk walk as their moderate intensity exercise. So that's as simple as it can be. It doesn't have to be complicated. Like you don't need to be going to a CrossFit workout or to be doing hot yoga or anything that would feel too intense. However, if that is what you enjoy, then maybe that's what you want to do. For me, when I had my first breast cancer surgery, I was in the gym 3 days after surgery because that's what made me feel good. I felt at home at the gym. I felt like I could do my range of motion exercises at the gym, and that felt really good for me because I love going to the gym. But for someone else, that could be just going for a walk in the woods for half an hour. And the science all says for moderate intensity exercise, you need only 150 minutes a week to prevent cancer or to extend your life if you have terminal cancer or to prevent reoccurrence. So 150 minutes is not long in a week.
No, that's 2.5 hours a week.
Yeah, yeah. 30 minutes, 5 days a
Yeah,
week.
and you take 2 days off.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
that,
so I think exercise can be what you want it to be. If your patient is going through cancer treatment, I think, and you want to keep them moving or get them moving, you need to just communication needs to be
yeah,
the big thing. What do they like to do? What do they hate doing? Because you're not going to tell them to do what they hate doing,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
during probably the most stressful time of their life. So,
Most people don't like it when you give them a sheet and say, do these exercises 10 times, 3 times a
yes.
day or whatever. That's totally useless for most people and not
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah.
And that's what's something I think I've seen more change of in, at least in the reading that I've done and the people I talk to, is that there's more of this flexibility around
Mhm.
exercise and what that means. It's not just bands and weights. It
Yeah.
could be dance, it could be yoga, it could
Yeah.
be Pilates, it could be hiking, it could be doing push-ups and sit-ups on the floor, whatever you
Yeah.
feel like you can do. Yeah. And when you say the moderate intensity, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's usually at the level where you can still have a conversation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you feel your heart rate and your breathing rate increasing, but you could still, if you're walking with a friend, you could still carry on a conversation, but maybe be breathing a bit heavy.
Yeah.
I think I think maybe if you are like a heart rate person, it's like a zone 2 heart rate,
Okay.
lower end of zone 2, I think is moderate intensity. And
Yeah.
then if you're into more intense exercise, you only need 75 minutes of
Oh, is that right?
yeah, intense exercise a
Cut it.
week to have cancer benefits.
Oh, I should put the soccer boots back on.
Yeah, get moving.
Yeah. Play once a week and okay, I'm done.
That's it. Yeah.
Just kidding. Doesn't work that way, but yeah,
No,
that's great.
no.
Well, that's great, Megan. Thanks for that. You provided a good synopsis of kind of some of the key things you'll be talking about. And I know you go into more detail in your presentation. It should be good. If I remember correctly, I believe yours is the second to last presentation on the day. So I believe 1 p.m. Pacific time. For
Nice.
anybody that wants to take Megan's course, it's available on my website, the cebe.com/courses. You can get it from there. And October 5th, hopefully people can attend. And for anyone that is going to attend live, it is recorded. So if you can't make it live, you will have access to it afterwards. But if you have any questions, there will be a short Q&A as well. Megan will be available for you for that.
Yeah. Ask me. I'm an open book. Ask me anything.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Megan, for being
Yeah.
here. And you have a good day, and we will connect soon.
Yeah. See you in October.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast network so you can be notified of future episodes. If you enjoyed this episode, please and share it to your favorite social media platforms. A full listing of my self-directed and live courses, blogs, resources, and podcast episodes can be found on my website, thecebe.com. If you would like to connect with me directly, I can be reached through my website, or please send me a DM through either Facebook or Instagram at @EricPurvisRMT. If you really enjoy these episodes, please consider making a small donation. This can be done by clicking on the support button or heading over to buymeacoffee.com/helloob. Thanks for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this episode.